Igqirha lendlela kuqoqothwane. Igqirha lendlela kuthiwa nguqoqothwane. I won't take it further than that. Ladies and gentlemen, this song was made famous by Mama Africa, Miriam Makeba. And we also know it as the click song. Igqirha. In my home language, isiXhosa, is the term for a traditional healer or diviner. This song tells us the story of the knock-knock beetle, uqongqothwane, as the diviner of the road, igqirha lendlela. It is not uncommon for Black African cultures to employ the services of a traditional healer, maybe to help God along, or vice versa, I don't know. Research tells us that, and this research was conducted in 2012, that there are over 200,000 indigenous traditional healers compared to 25,000 Western-trained doctors in South Africa. And well over 80% of the Black African population visit them. Now, what is interesting for me is that central to the analysis of a traditional healer is a tendency to put blame on some or the other dark force as the cause of one's woes, giving scant regard to the individual to do anything to change their lives. How do I know this? Because I found myself at one point desperate and at the feet of a traditional healer, ugogo. I remember distinctly the smell of that space. It was small, it was dimly lit, and there were herbs hanging all around, umuti. There was silence. As I sat on the floor, crouched in anticipation of what the bones would reveal. But over the months that followed this revelation, I watched myself become paranoid and suspicious. A victim who blamed witchcraft when things didn't go according to plan. You see, what had happened to me is that instead of Gogo helping me, she had instilled fear in me. But what does this have to do with you and your life? That's the question you're asking, right? But let me ask you a question. Have you ever been to see a fortune teller? Ever had your palm read? Ever read the stars? Ever been to church? If you answered yes, and you have, to any one of these questions, then you too have done it. You have at one point or another in your life gone to a place or a person in search of answers. My visit to Gogo was about a young girl desperate for answers when life just wasn't going right. I don't know why I chose to do it this way, but I did. And then I realized that something needed to change about this equation. That I had to make a decision to say, Gogo, you can't have this power and this hold over me. And so, I started taking responsibility. I challenged what Gogo had revealed to me, and I claimed back my power. Responsibility talks to our ability to respond, to act in reply, to pledge, to rise to the occasion. You see, when we take responsibility, we give the message that I am in charge. There's a wonderful quote by Neil Donald Walsh. And in it he says, your life begins at the end of your comfort zone. Now, I might never have known this until I made the decision to go bungee jumping at the Vic Falls. So I promise you I know what he's talking about. Your life begins at the end of your comfort zone. These words resonate because you and I say things like, things must change. More specifically, in the context of this summit, I sat somewhere over there yesterday, And I listened to a presentation, and some of you are hopeful that the organizations and the companies that you lead have the potential to bring about this positive change that we so desperately need in our continent and in the world. And I agree. It is possible. But only if we are willing to take that first step out of the comfort zone. You see, sitting here yesterday, listening to the different presentations, I realized that we have something special in this concept called shared value. Shared value as a model gives us the tool with which to respond. And we've been called to respond here, right? Shared value enables us to respond. But I think what's important to be mindful of in the context of our response is our own African context. How are we going to choose to respond as Africans in an African context, trying to solve African problems and challenges? And that's important. I look at each one of you here today, and I ask myself, where does it start? Because we all know that introducing a new concept, such as shared value, takes time. We've spoken about this. It's going to take time. We certainly have a long way to go. But I'm of the view that if we say, this is the way to go, then this is the place to start. With every single one of us seated here today. I'm going to quote a gentleman, I think his name was Ryan Short. And he spoke yesterday, and he said something wonderful. He said it's about us taking the plunge. And that's what it is. This isn't about the bones, Gogo's bones, or the lines on your palm. This isn't even about being right or wrong. It is simply about your ability to respond in light of your own life. If we are serious or committed about taking Africa forward, if Africa is to take the lead, we must respond. And so this morning, mine is simple. I want to challenge you to take that first step out of the comfort zone. I want to challenge you to heed the words of that beautiful click song I started with and to become a diviner. Igqirha lendlela. A diviner on your own life journey. Thank you.